During the launch of Battlefield 2042, this game has only started out with 7 different maps, but over the span of 4 years, the game has received 4 new ones, with one of them just coming out as Iwo Jima for the road to Battlefield 6. Putting this at 11 maps in total for Battlefield 2042, we're left to fight over what, in my opinion, relays as an almost post-apocalyptic sci-fi, as many of the maps are in some way desertified or dried out of their water, or are still nice and green, but suffer from massive tornadoes ravaging the lands. The maps in this game still fit the aesthetic of what Battlefield 2042 was trying to relay, which is something I appreciate, and something like fighting in a futuristic city, which has just been sanded over by numerous sandstorms, is really cool to look at. Now, something that I believe is sort of a cool nod to past games in the unmentioned love letter to past maps, which are put in the Battlefield 2042, but in a more sci-fi type of way. For example, we have 3 different maps in 2042, such as Redacted being a futuristic Operation Locker, Reclaimed giving us a snowier Zavad, and Manifest calling back to Battlefield Hardline's Docks map. Now, while I'm down for always sending love to older games, how exactly do these maps hold off in the grand scheme of things? Well, first off, to put things into perspective, like I said previously, 2042 only at this day and age has 11 maps, with only 4 of them being added later on from the launch. This is compared to Battlefield 1's 29 maps and Battlefield 4's 33 maps. Even Battlefield Hardline, which was received so poorly from the community, had 25 maps by the end of the game's lifespan. Now, while lack of content is an issue, how was the content we were given in the first place? Well, I'll say something I really appreciate is how aesthetically pleasing the maps are to play on. For example, like Hourglass, which is that future city I talked about. It's really cool to go from fighting in a small desert village on one side of the map to ducking from snipers and digging for objectives in the heart of the downtown area of the other half of this map. But the maps are really cool at the Switch, which another example is Renewal, which takes place in a man-made architectural area, literally has a giant wall on it, which on the other side is a massive solar system area out in the desert. So you can basically fight in 2 different maps all in one, and when the desert is getting bland, going through the wall will be a different story. But while the maps look cool and the fighting can be fun on them, what are the main issues to these maps that I kept alluding to earlier? Well, if you're so intrigued, then maybe you'll notice how the maps tend to be kinda large, and that sometimes finding other people or where the battle is at can be a struggle. So even if you didn't, I can tell you I did, as one of the biggest complaints from the fanbase is that the game is the absolute massive size of the maps, which would cause some objectives to be ghost towns, or for other areas of the map to just, you know, kinda be there. The reasons for this is that a lot of the Battlefield maps in the game were designed to harbor the 128 player battles that Battlefield 2042 strives so hard to go for. But this issue is if you play on the maps of 2042, then you end up with these huge maps basically abandoned and massive spaces of land designed for vehicle combat, which end up just kinda being there.